Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Rob Marsiglio, sales representative with Keller Williams out here in Durham region. Back with another video for you this week. We're going to look at all things reported home sales across the GTA. Shared some what I feel are interesting charts on X this past week. Kind of looking at the daily sales totals every single month, where we ended up for September. And now that we're 3/4 of the way through the year, I also want to look at year-to-date sales totals, see where we're going to end up by the end of this year. We're going to touch on that a little later in the video, so make sure you stick around just to see how slow we're projecting this year to be compared to every other year going back to 2008. Right into the charts now, and this is the first one that I wanted to show you. It's GTA. It's reported sales on a daily basis, and what I've done is I've reset the sales totals every single month. So on day one, you're starting with the number of sales reported on that day. And you can see January, February, March, April is when kind of the market peaked this year in terms of reported home sales. We saw just shy of 7,000 the month of April, all the way down now where we got to 4,921 sales in September right across the GTA. I took it one step further and broke it down by freehold and condo sales as well. You can see that freehold sales really peaked in May of this year as opposed to when the market peaked in April, and saw a bit more of an uptick than the total that we saw from August to September. So we jumped from just over 3,050 sales in August to just over 3,200 sales in September. Again, this is as per Toronto MLS. On the condo side of things, though, we just continue to see the market drop off. Again, peaked in April, and it's been a steady fall off really ever since then. A big drop from May into June, and then a little bit more of a steady drop right through into September. So we didn't see that uptick that we saw in the freehold market in September. We saw things slow down even a little further on the condo side of things. Now, if you do study the market, you know that this trend of kind of flat to down or maybe even slightly up sales in September from August isn't such a strange phenomenon. Here's a chart I've shared before many times looking at the median and average monthly sales totals. You can see that things usually do peak in May, fall off through August, and then September to August, it's usually relatively pretty flat. We'll see maybe an increase in sales activity or increase in sales totals come October time before quieting back off through into November and December. I think the only strange thing is that based on this chart, we're used to seeing closer to 10,000 sales in any given month at the peak. That would be in May. This year, like I said, we saw just shy of 7,000 sales reported. And we also would expect that September to be a little bit busier than February, especially than February. February and January, usually two of the slower months of the year. But again, September totals coming in less than what we saw in February. Now, like I said off the top, we are 3/4 of the way through the year. I wanted to take a look at how each region's condo and freehold markets have contributed to these numbers that we are seeing right now. And what we'll do is we'll start with the condos. So here we go. We have GTA condos reported sales on a monthly basis per Toronto MLS. You have the data that I populated this chart with down here, highlighted Toronto, Durham, York, Peel, and Halton. Toronto, clearly the highest condo volume market, and you can see the climb right through to April, really driving home that peak that we saw in April, flattened off into May, and then a big slowdown into the summer months that just continued to drop off through September. And just to make the picture a little bit clearer, I've deleted the Toronto condos now from this one. You can see the pattern a little more clearly across the rest of the markets. Smaller condo markets for sure. You know, York and Peel do some numbers, and they got up into that 375 range back in April. York with a bit quicker peak in April before a bigger fall off. The Peel region really pretty steady condo sales from February through to May of this year before they had their fall off. And then it's a much smaller, less significant part of the market in Peel and Halton regions. Those sales totals really only tell one part of the story, though. How do these sales numbers compare to new listings numbers that we're seeing, inventory numbers that we're seeing? And that's why I put this chart together, reported sales as a percentage of new listings on a monthly basis. And you can see that when you look at the numbers on this chart, things are a little more clumped together. That's the technical term, clumped together. But really the peak of the market in terms of the most busy time in the market would have been March. That was when things were the most competitive relative to what we were seeing in terms of new listings. And things have really just fallen off. You can see that every market right now, condos right across the board, everything's under 30% when it comes to sales as a percentage of new listings. Durham actually has the tightest condo market, and the kind of least competitive one, that one that's kind of just sitting there, the one that you're hearing so much about is that Toronto condo market, 22.91% is your reported sales as a percentage of new listings. So nothing earth-shattering here, but yes, the condo market is firmly in buyer's market territory and really is the slowest. September was the slowest month that we had seen all year right across the board. Now, off the top, we talked about how the freehold market saw a bit of an uptick in sales, and really that uptick in sales could all be attributed to the jump that we saw in the Toronto freehold market from August to September. That is the one market that saw a significant uptick in sales totals. Halton region went from 372 sales in August up to 404 sales. Everywhere else was down, actually, flat to down, 5 sale difference in Peel region. Hard to argue that the market was down too much, but we did see 155 reported sales uptick in the Toronto freehold market from August to September. But we saw a similar pattern to the condo side of things with sales as a percentage of new listings. Things really massively fell off from August to September, especially in the Toronto freehold market, as homeowners really flooded the market with new listings. We saw new listings activity up well over 100% in the Toronto freehold market from August to September. And as a quick recap, we've come from our highs that we saw back in January, where Durham region's sales as a percentage of new listings at 63.6%. We had Peel at 65.7 or almost 0.8%. Halton region at 60.8%. If you fast forward to where we're at right now, Durham region, once again, is the kind of quote-unquote tightest market on the freehold side, with a sales percentage of new listings at just over 34%. And things are really the slowest right now in York region, where that number is coming in at closer to 25.2%. Again, right across the board, everywhere is going to be in that technical buyer's market territory, based on everything being less than 40% right now. So you can clearly see that the pattern for 2024 is being a slowdown right across the board, condo properties especially, but the freehold market, it's not like it's gangbusters right now. We didn't have a hot start to the fall market. Let's see how things progress through October. Things usually peak out activity-wise right around that Thanksgiving weekend. But as I promised off the top, let's see or try to project where 2024 is going to end up from a total sales perspective compared to every year going back to 2008. Let's hop into the charts right now. So black bars here are the freehold market and red bars are the condo market. And this is year-to-date sales through 30 days of September. So through a full month of September, 3/4 of the year, where do we stack up sales-wise compared to every year going back to 2008? You can see on the freehold side, it's the slowest by about 800 sales. We saw 2023 was the previous slowest year for freehold reported sales. On the condo side, we're down about 1,030 sales from where we were in 2023, again, making it the slowest. The first time going back to 2008 at least that we haven't hit 20,000 sales for the year through 9 months. And when you lump it all together, this is now total sales right across the board. You can see we have 51,336 sales reported so far through the first 9 months of the year, slower than 2023, the previous slowest year, by a good, let's not call it 3,000, right about 2,700 sales, reported sales through 9 months. Now, in looking at the numbers, what I noticed is that through 9 months, we're used to seeing about 80% of sales occur through the first 75% of the year. So what that means is that things tend to slow down. The fall market is not as busy as the spring market. It's no surprise there. We see more sales happen in the springtime or in the first half of the year than we see in the second half. So that's not unusual, but what I try to do is use those numbers to project where sales could end up come the end of this year. So once again, here's the chart showing reported sales through September year to date. And then I added in these markers that show where sales actually ended up at the end of each year. You can see that 2023 was our slowest year sales-wise, just over 66,500 sales reported. Our busiest year that we've ever seen was back in 2021. 120,000 sales were reported that year, just over that number. So we definitely borrowed some sales from the following years back in 2021 at the really peak of the market mania that we did see right across the GTA. But using that 80% number, trying to take the average and best or highest and lowest case scenarios, I came up with these 3 numbers for where I could see, sales ending up at the end of 2024. And here are the 3 numbers that I came up with. So our highest, our kind of best case scenario for however many sales, this is the absolute ceiling that I can see for 2024. We've right around the 70,900 number, and that's based on using this percentage, back in 2020, we saw just 72% of all sales occur through the first 9 months. Now, remember, we didn't have a spring market that year. There was a very backloaded year. So this scenario of reaching that 70,000, 71,000 range is highly unlikely in my opinion. The low end is based on the ratio that we saw in 2008, where 85% of sales had already occurred through 9 months. We only saw another 15% of sales through October, November, and December. So that brings us to about 60,300 sales. The final number is the 64,930, so right around 65,000 sales. I think this is kind of a comfortable, if you're going to set an over-under for sales by the end of the year, I think this is where I would set it at, just based on, again, the median and average number of sales that we see through the first 9 months of the year compared to our year end total. So again, that 65,000 would be a great number to set an over-under at for sales this year. And based on that, I want to hear what you think in the comments. Do we hit over 65,000 sales this year, or will we fall shy of that in 2024? I think we're already going to be cemented as the slowest sales year for sure across the GTA, at least going back to 2008 based on Toronto MLS data, but I do want to hear what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for sticking with me right through to the end of the video. If you did get some value out of this one, or somebody that may get some value out of it, please like and subscribe to the channel, share the video with those friends, family, whoever might get some value out of these videos. Until we speak again next time, please stay safe and cheers.